Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today for my very first online workshop for 2024, where I'm going to be taking you through my 8 steps to writing successful grant applications. And I want to congratulate you for taking the time out of your day today to spend it with me, hopefully learn some new things, how we can grow your business or organization through grant writing and funding and taking a real strategic approach. Hello to those who are watching the recording and hello to those who are on live as well. So I firstly just want to say that this workshop is for anyone that is in a business, whether that be for-profit, not-for-profit, or an organization, a community group, a sports club. Basically, the process that I'm going to take you through today applies to all of those organizations, no matter where you are in Australia or the world for that matter. The process is the same, and obviously you just need to apply it to your own situation. So we'll make a start and let's get going. Who here today is a small business owner? Pop up your hand if you are. Yes, there's a few of you. And who is already too busy? Again, pop up your hand. There's a few hands up there. And who feels like they wear all the hats in their business or organization? Yep, there's a few hats and a few clapping hands. So you're in the right place. And today I'm going to help you to navigate funding and grants to make it a little bit easier. So when it comes to grants, small business owners are often not ready, don't know what's involved. And when grant programs come out, they normally come out with a really short application time, normally 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks. That is it. So if you think about it, we're running businesses, we're doing other things, we're on committees as volunteers, and we're trying to add this in as well. And we know that resources and time are scarce. And so we need to get smart about it. We need to get strategic about it. And we need to get really on board with what we're doing, where are we focusing, and how is this going to align to our overall business growth for our organizations. So putting together an application is so much easier if you have support. And I want you to think about now, how much free money have you missed out on in grant opportunities? You may have heard of other organisations or businesses receive grants and funding, and you've thought, oh, where was my application? Why didn't I get notified about this? So this is what we're going to talk about today, where we can find grants, how we can be ready, and how we can write the all-important grant application properly so that we can be successful. And there's heaps of paperwork and there's more and more administration work, which is going to take you away from your business. But I'm going to help you navigate all of this today. So I'm Liz of the Grants Club. I'm a grants coach and grants writer for small businesses who takes a strategic approach to grant writing and funding to support you to grow your business. I'm also a chartered accountant, so numbers are my thing. And with grants, it's all about getting money in your bank account. What I'm obsessed with is making sure your business has the best opportunity to be successful. You know how there's never enough hours in the day to get everything done, and you can't even start to think about grants, where to search, what to do. It's just way too overwhelming and stressful. And what I do is to help you and your business to be ready when that grant program is released so that you've got the right tools and information at your fingertips to complete that application and present your business or organization in the best possible light so that we can be successful. Now, I always start this with a bit of a geeky admission. I absolutely love writing grant applications, and I know that there's not many people that can say that, but I genuinely do. And I think it's just because it's a combination of a deadline, a challenge, some numbers and some budgets, and learning about what people are doing in their businesses really does get me excited. So I've worked in corporate, I've done a couple of stints in government as well, where my eyes were open to the opportunities that are out there that we simply just don't know about. And let's be frank, the government does not do a good job of advertising these. They don't want to create more work for themselves. So we have to be proactive, we have to be looking in the right place, and we have to be ready to take advantage. I do have an 85% success rate, which I'm really proud of. And I think this is because I work with my clients to take that strategic approach. It's not just about writing the grant. It's not just about telling me what you want to say. I extract that information out of you because you guys are the subject matter experts for your businesses and organizations. And then I will craft that into grant application, utilizing all the word counts, all the opportunities we can to write that really plain speak grant application in a positive light so that we can be successful and they give us the big tick of approval. Now, I know a lot of you on this workshop have already reached out about working together, and there will be some opportunities at the end of this to get in contact and to have a chat about grants. There's also a bit of content to get through, so I would ask you to put any questions into the chat with the big letter Q so I can easily see them, and I'll be trying my best to answer them throughout today's workshop. So as I've said, grant applications are my thing. And like anyone in business, we need to be specializing. So let me help you to write your grants, to get strategic, to develop that growth strategy plan so that you can stay in your zone of genius and we can all be efficient together. Now, I absolutely love this quote when it comes to grants. Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. And I'm absolutely passionate about making sure that people can apply and have the opportunity to apply if they're eligible. You've got to be in to win. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door and ask you to apply for a grant application, because quite frankly, that's too much work for the governments. And also they normally get enough people to apply anyway. So this is what I'm talking about, being proactive, being ready, and knowing what we want to spend our money on if there was a grant that we could apply for. So my guarantee today to you is that you will go away after this online workshop with 8 clear steps of how to be successful with grant applications. This is the exact process that I use with my clients time and time again, and it has allowed me to create that 85% success rate. I'm really excited to share this with you today, and I have added on an extra step. A few of you might have already joined my workshop in the last couple of years where it used to be the 7 steps. But I've discovered that there's one extra step that makes it even easier to write grant applications. So let's get started. The first step is all about, what does success mean to you? Every business is different. Every grant program is different. Every opportunity is different. So we need to be thinking about, what does success mean to us? Do we want to grow? How do we want to grow? Does it mean more staff? Does that mean more programs? Does it mean more efficiencies? Is there a piece of equipment or a vehicle we need that's going to make our lives much easier in our business? Thinking about what is on our wish list that we need for success. So when we're talking about grant writing, we first of all need to identify the grant opportunity. What's open? Where is it? Where is it coming from? And then gathering all the information related to that grant program. So we're talking about grant programs in Australia at the council level, state government level, and also at federal level as well, so national grants. So they're the 3 main levels of grants. And so each of them will issue guidelines and information, and normally heaps and heaps of documents of just screeds and screeds of jargon that we need to navigate through to be able to make our application. So first of all, we need to be making sure that we're eligible, and can we even apply? And that's from an organisation point of view. Do we meet the criteria of the right size, the right revenue, the right number of staff, been in business a right time, GST registered, that we've got our ABN, all of those basic things. And you'll be surprised at how many people fall over at that hurdle where they think they can apply, they go through the whole process, and then they realise, actually, I'm not actually eligible. Then you've also got to check your eligibility for your actual project. Does my project that I'm planning to do, and at this point you'll only have a really rough idea, meet the criteria? Is it in the right budget lines? You know, if it's a $25,000 grant and our project is for $500,000, is this really going to get us over the line, and where are we going to get the other funding from? So these are the types of things we need to be thinking about initially. I always go through the guidelines and the application form that they give you and highlight those key words. What is it that they're trying to achieve? Why has the government outsourced this grant program to organisations, not-for-profits or businesses to do something on their behalf? Because ultimately that's what it's all about. And here we're going to draft our project outline really, really briefly. But what are we going to do? What's the time frame? And again, does it fit in with the guidelines and the eligibility criteria of the grant program? Here we're going to also create the grant strategy plan document, which is basically the application form in a really basic format in a Word document. And this is absolutely key to our success. And at this point also, I encourage you to book in a free 15-minute chat with me to discuss grants. I'm more than happy to have a quick chat with you, regardless of whether you use my services or not, to work out whether you're eligible for each grant, because it is a bit of a skill, making sure we've ticked all the boxes. And quite often when they advertise a grant, the real simple one or two words about the grant in the summary don't give all the detail. So we need to be making sure that we are really reading those guidelines over and over to check that eligibility criteria and that we tick absolutely every single box. Because if we don't, that will be the quickest way to a no. And if we do the application and spend all our time doing it, we've absolutely wasted it for a no from the outset. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So step one is about preparing for success and getting organised. We need to start this process with the end in mind. What are we ultimately applying for? Is it the 25,000? Is it for a new program? Is it for a piece of equipment? Is it for marketing? What is it for? Only you can answer that. Then we move on to planning our approach. Reading the guidelines again and again. I have a checklist of how to complete a grant application, and I think in there I say read the guidelines at least 4 times over 2 or 3 days, where you can absolutely understand and make sure that you're eligible. What's the time frame? As I said, it's normally, anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks that we have to apply for these. So not a lot of time when we're already running businesses, we're already busy trying to fit everything else in. So we just need to be mindful of that and not cause too much stress by doing this. What are the funding limits? As I said, if you're applying for a grant for 25,000, but your project is going to be $500,000, does it really match up? And is it really going to get us over the line? Who is going to be the subject matter expert? That might be you if you're the only one in your business, might be one of your staff members, might be a combination of people depending on how large your organisation is. But somebody needs to know the ins and outs of your business and of this proposed project as well to make it easier to complete the grant application. Now, this doesn't have to be me, but I do encourage you to think about working with someone who has had success with grants. Not just a writer that can put a few words together, but someone that has been successful in securing grants in the past and has the experience to be able to help you. This is absolutely key to success as well, because it can be a minefield. Some of the guideline documents can be 40 pages. Then they have FAQs, that's another 20 pages. Then they have the sample application form, which is another 20 pages, and so on and so on. So we need to be absolutely making sure that we have the best resources available to us. And at this point, we're also aiming to submit 1 or 2 days before the hard deadline. Nowadays, we need to log into the portal, and at the time will cut off. You will not be able to apply afterwards, and there won't be any opportunity to email either. So this is an absolute hard deadline that we don't want to miss. So we need to put that in now as well. And at this point, I encourage you to think about, can we absolutely apply? Is our project really in the right space? Do we proceed and continue with this grant application, or do we stop and find another opportunity or put our efforts in other areas? That's where we need to stop and think about. Step 3, now this is the extra step that I've added in to my process, which I was doing anyway, but I think over the last few years, I've really realized that this is key. If we don't have this, what I'm calling a grant strategy plan, which is a Word document of the grant application form, where we'd create a table List all the questions, space for your response, put the deadline and allocation of who's going to do what or where you're going to get that information from. It might be from your website. You might have to go and ask other people in your business. You might need to go and talk to your accountant. You might need to talk to me to work out the strategy and do some planning together. But this is absolutely going to be your Bible for this process. Also making sure that we're adding the word and character limits. Each question or response will have a limit. And be careful here because I've seen people get tripped up over word and character limits and they've got confused. There is a big difference between them. I had one client who thought that it was words, not characters, so she wrote too much. And then I've had other clients where they've thought the opposite and we haven't written enough. So just need to be very, very careful on that as well. Because nowadays when we copy and paste it into the grants portal, it will chop it off mid-sentence if we've got too many words, and sometimes we might not even know. So not a good look for our grant application. Within this grant strategy plan, we're also going to create a list of the supporting documents that are required to be able to submit. And also nowadays, the portals are really clever where they're marking things as mandatory. So if you haven't attached a document, you won't be able to submit. And the grant strategy plan is a great visual aid to get you through this process, especially if you're doing a million other things. We have one central point of the truth, and that's where you can go in and update as you go along, thinking of things when you're driving in the car, thinking, oh, well, what else could I do with that project? Or, oh, that's how I'm going to describe my organization in 50 words, which is also very challenging as well. And at this point, I encourage you to create the grants portal account and your passwords and go in and have a look at the application form. I have been caught out a couple of times, or at least once, where the sample application form that they gave you in PDF form did not entirely match the actual application form in the grants portal. Obviously, somebody's updated it at some point, and hasn't updated the PDF document. So just be careful there. And there were some extra questions that we weren't expecting. Luckily, we weren't copying and pasting just before it was due, so we had time. And I'd also encourage you to go through at this point, log in, create your submission, and complete the really basic business information. So your business name, your ABN, your contact details, your email addresses, so you don't have to do it later. And also you can feel like you've already achieved a little bit of it, and then you've only got the hard stuff left. So that's just a wee tip there for you. As I said, this document becomes your Bible and the one source of truth throughout this process. The next step is really what I keep talking about in taking a strategic approach. So it's not just about the writing. Actually, the writing's probably 10% of it. It's about making sure that we are showcasing our project and presenting the best possible project, that we're thinking outside the square, we're trying to be inspirational and aspirational, and we're really trying to grow and stretch our businesses, organizations to do something different and to have that greater impact. So if you work with me, this is where I have a in-depth 1 to 2 hour strategy session where we go through the grant application form, we go through the guidelines, and we basically plan out in depth what we're going to do for the project. We run through all the components in the grant strategy plan that we've just created in step 3. And this is the chance to really brainstorm and think about, well, what else can we add on? You know, if it's for some equipment, what else do we need? What else is on our wish list? What's on our priority list? At this point, working on a budget. What is it we're going to buy? What is it going to cost? And just being careful here, you may not be able to do the budget without the quotes. So we just need to make sure that we have some information around this to develop that budget. And all of this stuff is just a starting point. So we'll start it here and we'll refine it as we go through as well. But working out what is our focus and what are we going to drill down to for this project. We need to be specific. We need to make sure that it meets those objectives and outcomes that the grant program are hoping to achieve. And we don't want it to be really wishy-washy or really generic. It needs to be unique and something really special to have that impact for the community, for your business, for the wider business or the economy. Just depends what it relates to, but we absolutely need it to be focused and do it well. Step 5. Now, this is where the bulk of the work is done. Every grant program is different, every business is different, and every grant project is different as well. So each grant program will have its own criteria in terms of what supporting documents we need to attach. Some will specify exactly what they want us to attach. Some will even give you a template that you have to fill out. Some will allow you to use your own templates. So this is all in the attention to detail, to making sure that we understand those guidelines and that we've gone through it in depth to understand. So it might be things like attaching a business plan. It might be a marketing plan for your project delivery plan. How long is this going to take? What are the stages? What does our proposed project timeframes look like? Adding a Gantt chart, adding reviews and case studies of past project success. What evidence have you got to show that you're going to be successful if you were to be given this opportunity to go forth with this project? Writing letters of support. Now, this is one thing that a lot of people forget about or don't even know about. So letters of support are linked to who's going to benefit from this project. It might be suppliers, it might be collaborators, might be other business owners, might be a community group. Basically, they're going to write a letter to say, we support this project and we would love for it to be funded. What we do to make it easier is draft those letters of support with a couple of paragraphs, send it to the person on Word. They can pop it onto their letterhead, and then they can send it back to us after they've signed it. Again, we haven't got a whole lot of time, so we do need to make it easy for them. Quotes from trusted suppliers. Now, this is what I talk about being grants ready and building those relationships with your suppliers. So you can ring up and say, hey, look, can I have a quote for this? Or you've already previously discussed what that project might look like. Obviously, some suppliers do require a 7-day period to get their quotes done, and sometimes that's too long. So I implore you to think about now, what are these possible projects that could happen in the future? Who do we need to go and get involved? How can we go and get a quote or go and have a discussion around, is it going to be $5,000? Is it going to be $10,000? So that we have a bit of a gauge of what kind of grant levels we are even looking at and applying for. Updating your financial reports. Now, this is key. Most grants in Australia, anything over $50,000 requires grants grants to be submitted with financial reports. So normally your last financial year. So if you haven't got your 30 June 2023, so last financial year's tax done or financial reports done with your accountant, again, I encourage you to go and get them done. Couple of reasons. One, so you can just easily attach it to the grant application if needed. Or two, we can understand where our financial position is in terms of matching. Sometimes we have to have our own funds that are going to match to what the government's going to give us, but also making sure, can we afford this? Or what is the impact going to be on our bottom line? What's it going to do to our revenue? What's it going to do to our expenses for our overall business? And the only way to understand that is to have up-to-date financial statements. So if you haven't already, make sure you go and get them done. And knowing your key business information, as I said before, knowing what your ABN number is, knowing your address, knowing your email addresses, all of those types of things are really important and are asked in most grants. So we can already be collating that information now. Brilliant. So Rebecca's asked, what is a Gantt chart? So basically, and Jess, thank you. It's a chart in Excel that has a start and end of tasks, milestones, and I normally do it just for a month. Project managers will do it by day. And so again, it's a visual way of seeing, well, how long is this going to take? What's our overlay of different tasks? What's the interdependencies and who can do what? So maybe next workshop, I will include that in this presentation, but thanks for that question. So your supporting documents is crucial. Without these, we can't submit a grant application. Simple as that. As I say, they are requiring these as mandatory. Some grant applications don't necessarily specifically ask for supporting documents. They just say you can attach up to 5 documents. And that's where you could do your business plan, you could do photos. It depends on the project, really. It could be a project plan, could be a mood board, could be anything. So again, it depends on the grant application. Now we're up to step 6. And this is where we take all the information that we've collated and gathered and we start writing the draft application. I do this sort of right at the end or once we've got all that information because, depending on our quotes, depending on what we end up including and excluding in our project, we want to make sure that our responses are specific, are consistent, and are telling the right story. So we don't want to be talking about an item that we thought we were going to purchase and include in the quotes and we didn't end up worrying about it. So we don't want to mention it. So just making sure that it all links through, and consistency is key here. So this is where we're going to populate the grant strategy plan for those questions. Again, some of the questions are going to be 500 words, some are going to be 150 words. It just depends, but that's when we need to work through to populate them and start writing. Again, looking back to those guidelines of what are the key criteria to address and how are they going to weight these and assess your answers. And I will say that if there's 5 or 6 questions, they normally make those questions add up to the 100%. There'll be 10% per question. And then you think, well, hold on, I've also provided all this other information as well, which obviously they consider, but in the main responses, that is where the bulk of the assessment happens. And remember at this step that the people that are assessing these, and they will be people, because it won't be AI yet, they're humans and they know nothing about us, nothing about our business or organization, and nothing about our project. So we need to keep that in mind, and we need to make sure that we are writing in a way that they fully understand it. This is where we finalize the budget. So again, if we're applying for a $25,000 grant, and our quotes come to 35, can we afford that $10,000 difference? One thing I will say to you also is there's normally a 12-week assessment period from the time you submit to finding out whether you're successful or not. So if, for example, we do need to find some more money to bridge the gap, you have got time to do that. You don't need to do it straight away. And I would still be encouraging you to make the application and deal with it later. If you get down the track and you're successful in your grant application and for some reason things have changed in your business or you no longer want to do that project, you can easily decline it and not proceed with the grant application and the grant project. And ensuring the responses align with the objectives and outcomes, and also ensuring that the responses answer the question they are asking. Time and time again, I have seen people, when the question has been, what is this project or what do you plan to do? I will start that response with, this project is to purchase XYZ. The amount of times that people skip ahead to, oh, well, it's something about this or something about that, haven't actually answered the question. So again, remember, we're answering the question that is being asked, just like in a test or an exam. And it is similar to a test or an exam where once we've submitted, we have to forget about it, wait till we get notification of approval or rejection, and then go from there. Next step, when we're writing and we're doing our drafting, we then need to be talking about what's our impact. And this is our opportunity to showcase our project, our organization in the best possible light. We need to stand out from the rest, and we have such a, we don't have that many opportunities because normally the portals are plain text. We can't even bold it. We can't do pink paper. And just like CVs coming across as people's desks, if you're the 20th one that they're reading and it's just a bit boring, then they're going to get bored of it pretty quickly, and it may go in the rejection pile just because of that. So we need to be writing in a persuasive way, again assuming nothing, being really blunt and basic about what we are trying to achieve. And, you can get someone to look at this who has nothing to do with your project and see if they understand it and they can relay what you're trying to portray. Using simple English, easy to understand language. And if you are using jargon that's within your industry, make sure you explain it somehow so that they don't get baffled by that jargon. As I've said, showcasing your project in the best light possible. This is a competitive process. So we absolutely need to be at the top of our game and making sure that we are really portraying how this project is going to have huge impact and benefit for our community or the intended target audience. And using strong and positive language. Time and time again, I see business posts and grants and any literature for businesses and organizations, and they're written in such a negative tone. Don't dwell on the don't dwell on the problem. Dwell on what we're going to do and the positive impacts, and just write in a really positive way. And also write it as if you're going to be successful. So write saying, when we do this project, or in January next year, when we start this project, write it with the end in mind and write it as if we're already successful. Not over the top, but that we are going to proceed with this and we're going to make this happen. So that brings us to the last step, step 8, where we've gone through this whole process, we've written our application, and we're nearly ready to submit. So you can do this in 2 ways, but we need to make sure that someone reviews it and proofreads it. I get my clients to read through and review the grant strategy plan, which is in the Word document. Other clients, I will pop it into the portal and they will review there and update directly if they like. So a couple of options there, but important thing is someone needs to review it, someone needs to proofread it. Check your word limits as well. You can go through and, if it's characters, turn and into the ampersand, and, use little tricks like that as well. Then we're going to copy and paste from our grant strategy plan into the grants portal if we haven't already, depending on how you've worked that. Again, a final review of your grant application, and then we're going to press submit. A few days if possible, a few days early if possible. Some grants are done on a first and first served basis, but majority of them, they do wait till the deadline and then assess them all in one go. So it's not a major, but also do not leave it till 10 to midnight. If it closes at midnight, don't log into the portal at 10 to midnight to think you're going to submit it. Try and submit it in daytime hours or business hours, so that if something does go wrong, you can at least call someone and see if you can get help. As I said before, they won't accept email. We need to make sure that it's through the portal and that we have got the confirmation email. Couple of weeks ago, a grant that I was applying for, the system crashed. We had heaps of issues, and I just made sure that when we did submit it, we got that confirmation email, and then I logged back in and checked that it was in the portal sitting there as a submitted application. So just do those double checks, because it's too late otherwise if we don't do that, and they'll just say, sorry, hasn't gone through our system, if that wasn't our fault. And at this point, I encourage you to celebrate the process of doing the submission. Writing grant applications becomes a resource and becomes a really good exercise in your business for reflection, and also to really showcase what you've done and what you're going to do in the future. And it also exhibits some of those planning. So we are doing some grants now where we're planning, because of the grant program, they want the events to happen next year. So what are we, March 2024? Our project plan doesn't start till December 24 for events in January. So, there is that forward planning, that proactiveness that we need to encourage in here as well. So there we have it. We have just gone through the 8 steps to grant writing, and the grant strategy document, the Word document, is the key extra that I've added in. I just wanted to share with you here some clients that have been successful, that we've written grants for. Kim and Matt have a $59,000 grant. They've just finished their project for their trailer to take around schools to teach them about recycling and collect the lids that will be then turned into recyclable products. Ben and Jessie turned their side hustle into a full-time business, and designer cabinetry absolutely blew their capacity out of the water with a new CNC machine that made everything faster, made their turnaround for kitchens way quicker, and they were able to double their revenue in a very short amount of time due to that grant. So, there are grants out there at any one time across Australia. There's about 1,500 grants. That doesn't mean to say that you're eligible for all of them or any of them, but this is why we have to be proactive. We have to know where we're looking, and we have to know what we need to do to apply for them as well. So, my business is all about helping you and your business to grow and expand with business grants. I find people don't know about them, and it's my mission to educate people that they exist, of where they can find them, and how they can get strategic about using grants as a bonus. We don't want to be relying on them because we don't know when they come out. We don't know how long they'll be out for. We don't know how much will come out, but we need to be aware of them. So if you don't already know or who your council is, I would subscribe to their business or community newsletter because they will always share them there. Again, depending on what state you're in, connecting with, if you're in Victoria, Business Victoria, New South Wales, Service New South Wales, and Queensland, Business Queensland, as examples, to have a look at their websites and to see what grants are out there right now. And it will change. So we can't just go and look for grants today and then forget about it. We need to be looking all the time. In Australia, there's been some recent grants that I've helped clients with. The energy efficient equipment upgrades was really popular across Australia. Most councils have what we call quick response grants for your community groups. There's business enterprise, mentoring, and other grants as well. The Stonington Council, and just as an example, in Victoria and Melbourne have activation grants, arts and culture grants, and community grants if you are in that area. So each council is different. They have different priorities and they have different grant programs, so we need to be aware of them. Stonington Council is a great example where they do run a grant program every single year at the same time. So, you know, my clients have applied for those grants for the last 3 or 4 years. And the Foundation for Rural and Regional Communities as well, they facilitate the grant funding on behalf of the Australian government towards regional and rural communities, some disaster stuff, and a lot of small communities, and they have a number of rounds throughout the year as well. Sustainability Victoria had a client who was successful in the Victorian Circular Economy Recycling Modernisation Fund. We found out about their successful $250,000 grant application last week, so that was super exciting. If you're in New South Wales, there's plenty of events and activation grants out there as well. So there are so many grants across Australia, WA, NT, South Australia, and Tasmania all have various grants out there. So we just need to be looking in the right place. So I did say that if you joined me live for this workshop, I would draw a winner to join me for a one-on-one strategy call. It's a 1-hour strategy call on Zoom where we can go in depth about your business organization and how grants can help you. So I wrote a number on my desk here earlier, and I'm just going to quickly count down the list to see who that is. So it's a number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Sarah Brown. So Sarah, if you can just pop your email into the chat, if you don't mind, and then we can get in touch to organise your 1-hour strategy call with me over the next month or so. So well done. Thank you for being here live. I think that's a good incentive for people to join live. Cool. So if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat. I have some questions that come up quite regularly, so I'm going to go through those now. And if there are any other questions on the chat, we can also answer them as well. So can you help me with grant writing? Absolutely. It is what we do. It's the core of our business. If you find a grant that you find you're eligible for and you want help with the grant to be written, absolutely get in touch. We're pretty responsive. I know time is of the essence. We normally have a 15-minute chat initially. I can have a quick squiz at the grant opportunity, the grant program, the application form, and I'll provide a service fee quote for you basically on the spot, and then you can decide whether to proceed or not, and we can go from there. Liz, I don't have time to search for grants. Can you help me? Absolutely. So we love searching for grants because I do find it a bit of a challenge to find grants for people for different industries, different areas. And we do offer a service where we are doing the grant searching and research for you through our Grants Club VIP membership. So there's 3 tiers of that, 3 levels of that. The bottom level is the grant searching, where we simply are searching for grants for you. So you're outsourcing that to us on a monthly basis. The next tier is that searching and researching, and we'll write the grants for you as well. And the third tier is searching, writing the grants, but also helping you with your strategy with a strategy call every month to keep you on track for your growth plan for your business. I don't have a business plan. Can you write one for me? Absolutely. And I did have a client a while ago that could not apply for a $50,000 grant because they didn't have a business plan. We only had 2 weeks until the grant closed, and it was just not enough time to do a business plan and a grant application. I always say we can always update a plan or a document. It's much harder to start from scratch. So something is better than nothing. And we need to be working through that process. So if you don't have a business plan, I'll be popping it on your list, and we can absolutely help you do that as well. And I've talked a lot about our wish list. If there was a grant out there for $5,000, $10,000, what is on your wish list? Can you help me to develop my wish list? Absolutely. We do one-off strategy calls, normally for 3 hours, to develop that wish list. And I will help you to further brainstorm your ideas. You'll come up with some, and I'll come up with some, and then we'll have a clear, actionable list to take away. And then that will help you to work out what grants you're even searching for, what value of grants we're looking for, and it will start you on your journey with grants and funding to grow and thrive. So they're the main questions that come up that I just wanted to share with you today. Lynn, I have an idea that I'm working on. Don't know really where to start. Would apply for grants. Yes. So what I say to people is, let's have a 15-minute chat. And if you can explain what your idea is, your plan is, I can get a better understanding of your business, where you're at, where you're located, and whether, there are grant opportunities, which is exactly what Lynn doesn't know right now. We don't know what we don't know, and that's totally fine. That's what I'm here for. So I do encourage people to book in a 15-minute chat with me. It's free. I will pop the link into the chat again. You'll just have to, it's the second one there. And this is where you will share with me that idea, a little bit about your business, a little bit about your history and your future. And I can have a bit of a, gauge on whether that's something that the government would fund, or whether it's something we need to explore different funding opportunities, or how can we generate our own income and revenue using marketing and collaborations and other partnerships. So that's where we go from the strategy point of view. Lynn, you were talking about retreats in your rural area. Everyone's looking for a retreat. So again, it's about connecting, networking with those people that want retreats, and then going from there. So not all projects are going to be appropriate for grant opportunities. I understand that. But what I'm here to do is help people work out how they can get their growth strategies implemented and executed to grow your business. So there's heaps of other ways that people are not aware of. Grants is one of them, but how can we get creative to do what you want in your business? So do check my availability. I do have some 15-minute sessions available before Easter. If you want to jump in there, it's absolutely free, no obligation. And depending on your situation, depends on what our next step might be. So, and as somebody always reminds me, I can talk about grants all day, but I promise I'll stick to the 15 minutes and let you get on with the rest of your day afterwards. The other thing I also have is my Grants Ready quiz. And I don't know why this isn't working. There we go. The link I've just popped into the chat as well. You might just have to scroll up a little bit. It's a free quiz. Again, it's just gives you some prompts to think about, well, am I ready for a grant? and do I have what I need? It'll give you a score. And again, following that, you can book in for a session with me that's completely free. And we can set you on the road to growing and thriving, maybe through grants, maybe through other opportunities, but definitely happy to have a chat. And also there, the third link that is in the chat is my Grants Club Community Facebook group, or you can pop your phone up to the screen to see the link with the QR code. Again, I'd encourage you to join that group. I do promise that this is going to get a bit of a revamp over the next month or so. I'm going to be posting in here much more frequently than I have been, sharing more opportunities with you, and getting people on track to think more strategically about their businesses. So if you do want to join that, either click on the link in the chat or pop the link into the QR code. The other thing I should have said, everyone will get the recording with all the links on an email as well. So if you do miss anything today, don't worry. This afternoon, you'll get an email with all the information and you can take action as you wish. So there's my website if you do want to check me out. There's a new website coming next month, which I'm super excited about, but there's a little bit of basic information on there at the moment. And if you come back in April or check out my socials, you will know when it's been updated. Again, I love this quote when it comes to grants. Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. So let's not miss those opportunities. Let's go and be proactive, get started and get sorted with grants. So thank you for joining me today. You've had some great questions. You've been really engaging. I hope you learned something when it comes to grant writing, to strategy with growth, of how it all sort of works, and how I work with my clients to get that success and that money in bank accounts. You can email me. You can check out my website. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn as Liz Fleming, and also have a YouTube channel, which is where these recordings are all posted. So check that out. And with my new website, there are going to be a ton of blogs and resources that I'm going to share with people that I have created over the last few years and have done nothing with. And for once, they will finally be on my website, free for you to check out and fill out and complete and become grants ready, so that when those grant programs come out, you can be ready to go, submit your application and be in the running for that government money. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great afternoon and I hope to connect with some of you soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.